This is Red Ice Radio. From the dream to reality. RedIceCreations.com.
Welcome to Red Ice Radio. This is Henrik Palmgren. We are glad to have you all with us today. You can find us at RedIceCreations.com, and we have lots of interesting material for you there. We are going to talk with Mehran Kesh today, who joins us from Belgium. He's behind the Kesh Foundation, and he's been working on the development of plasma reactor technology. Mehran claims that the technology has multiple different kinds of applications and functions, such as space flight via its anti-gravity attributes. It also has energy-generating capabilities and also medical applications. The website is keshfoundation.com, and he's the author of The Universal Order of Creation of Matters and The Structure of the Light. Kesh has set up the International Space Institute, and he asserts that they will be making commercial spaceflight available to the general public in the near future. And this includes a moon trip program currently scheduled for around 2016 to 2017, and eventually even Mars. Mehran Kesh was born in Iran in 1958. He is the son of an X-ray engineer. He moved to Europe in the mid-70s for further education in the field of nuclear physics. In 1981, he graduated from Queen Mary College, University of London, as a nuclear engineer specialized in reactor technology system control. Since about 2002, he has concentrated his effort to finish the full design of his technology for launch into the scientific world and industry. He also claims that at the end of 2005 and beginning of 2006, several static plasma reactors have been built. Since the beginning of 2006, several prototypes of dynamic reactors have been built, some specifically designed to create hovering effects. Iran, as the first government in the world, has shown interest in this technology. As you might recall, it was announced by the IRNA news agency in Iran in March of this year, 2011, that Tehran has the world's first flying saucer, and this is apparently Mehran's technology at the root of this. His claims are quite extraordinary, but in 2005 he did file 2 patents with the European Patent Office for a microplasma reactor and a gravitational and energy system that you can look at for yourself. And in 2007 he filed for a patent application for medical and food applications of plasma reactors. Let's listen, and of course, as usual, we'll let you make up your mind about these claims. All right, welcome to the program, Mehran. It is excellent to talk to you today. We really appreciate your time, and we have lots to go through, so this is going to be a lot of lots of fun, as it were. But first of all, welcome then, Mehran. How are you today?
Thank you very much. Not too bad.
Our listeners, and me included, would be very interested to hear more about some of the basically your claims when it comes to your research and theories that you've developed around plasma reactors, cold fusion, gravity, the structure of light, magnetic fields, and so forth. You have a lot of different applications, obviously, connected to your work. Maybe here in the beginning, Mehran, you could explain some of the fundamental principles of your work to our listeners here at the beginning.
In a way, what we done and what we do is that we go to the origin of the creation of magnetic fields and how magnetic fields as a plasma lead to creation of gravitational fields and what we see as a magnetic field, what we call the capital M, which is what we see at the protection around the Earth. So the whole outset and the whole concept of the technology is that we go to the beginning, how these things are created, and in understanding this concept, that how magnetic field and gravitational fields are created, we've developed technologies and systems which follow the concept of plasma, or what we call plasma magnetic fields. So it's very easy for us to build replicas of planetary systems, magnetic field and gravitational field, and we follow the same thing and the same concept into medicine and applications in medical applications and in producing materials.
Absolutely. You have a background as a nuclear engineer, I believe. How did you come onto this field, Mehran? Tell us just briefly about that, if you will.
I was born in the world of radiation, as my father was part of the Philips medical side, and then I studied diplomas in engineering, and then I got a degree as a nuclear engineer. I specialized in reactor technology and control, system control. And I followed that into research of 30, 40 years as a nuclear physicist in developing different aspects of the technology. But the whole concept and the development has taken over some 40 years plus. And in past 5, 6 years, or since early 2001, 2002, the whole effort has gone into bringing the knowledge and the technology which is gathered over some 30 years into public, where now we have set up what's known as a Keshe Foundation and a spin-off with the Keshe Foundation, which is owned by the foundation itself.
Okay, we'll talk more about the foundation a little bit later, because that's a big part of this, obviously. Explain a little bit to us about the idea of plasma magnetic field, and is this an idea that has dawned on you as an individual in terms of creativity, or do you base your ideas and theories on some of the other work that already has been out there? And if so, what would that be, Mehran?
No, I work independent. I never go back into relating my work to anybody else, because to me, magnetic fields and gravitational fields are correlation of interaction of dynamic fields of magnetic magnets or magnetic fields. So, in turn, when a plasma, what we call a huge number of fields, get together as a plasma, they lead and they can be controlled to lead to creation of gravity and creation of protection fields. So, I never followed anybody in a way, because at the beginning of my education as a nuclear engineer, I never agreed with the whole phenomenon of what was taught in the universities as a theoretical physics.
Right.
Regarding the plasma, regarding the atom and nucleus. And in a further work, as we have already published a couple of books, I even explain, I've gone into the essence of opening the plasma, which is the nucleus of an atom, or the center of an atom. And we have seen how we can come to one field which is unwinding, leads to creation of so many other fields and so many other interactions of magnetic and gravity, which leads to creation of what we call the plasma of a hydrogen, for example. At the same time, further on, we have understood that even the electron is a plasma condition. So now we know how it is. We have now even can explain how electron finds its position in respect to the nucleus or its proton. And we use the magnetic field of the proton for big lifts or big energy movement, and we use the plasma of electron for small magnetic field movements. So in a way, in our systems, we never burn fuel. Burning has no meaning, has no concept in our development. So we use the magnetic fields, and when we finish with it, we put it back in its place. It's very much as if you have two solid magnets. The energy of the magnet never runs out. It's still there all the time with the magnet. So it's the same concept as with the plasma of magnet. It never dies. You don't need it. And we bring that concept into full understanding that, for example, if you bring two solid magnets next to each other or across each other, if it's one pole negative, one pole positive, or what you call it, north and south, you bring them together, they get attracted to each other. They pull each other. There is no engine in them. There is no motor in them. There is nothing pushing them together. So that attraction we call gravitational field, which they gravitate to each other. At the same time, if you put two similar poles to each other, they move away from each other. They always keep certain distance. So, and you see the movement of the second magnet, which has nothing to do with any energy source. It's the position of the two fields, which is coming from the same end of the magnet, which allows how far and the magnet moves away. So, if you bring the same thing into a plasma, you have the same characteristics. So, in our systems, so for example, to create motion, we create replica of the magnetic field and gravitational field of the Earth. The similar poles of the plasma of our system, in comparison to the Earth, they reject each other, so we move away as the solid magnets do, and there are two similar poles. So we move away till the distance they are in balance. And then we do the same thing. We create gravitational field internally in the same system, using the same material. We get attracted, become closer. So it is very easy when you understand the whole concept.
Absolutely. I mean, we have talked a bit in the past with other people about, magnetism, obviously, but also magnetic motors. And maybe that's another potential aspects of this. But, if we focus a little bit on the plasma aspect to this, is this about creation of plasma? I mean, and if so, doesn't it take a lot of energy to do that? I'm thinking about lightning, for instance.
Used to. You're correct. Used to. Mm. It is what I say. You can feed yourself straight to your mouth, or you can put your hands all the way around your head and feed yourself. This is the same thing. Up to now, the scientific world has chosen to eat the way going around the head, where you can feed yourself straight in the mouth. So, in understanding the concept of the plasmatic magnetic field creation, separation, and division and manipulation, you don't need anything else. You don't need jet propulsion. You don't need all huge rocket technology to go into to do lifts and payloads. And this goes by the same way. In the plasma of magnetic field, one single plasma, you create multiple plasmas which define the gravitational magnetic field with respect to their position, and they move to where they reach balance. So it's very easy.
So have you done this yet, or is this still on the theoretical level?
No. We have, your listeners who know who I am or they've listened to other interviews we've done. As you know, the Iranian government, second week of March of this year, announced they have a spaceship program.
That's right.
The spaceship program, which the system which creates the lift without propulsion, belongs to Keshe Foundation. We announced this, we transferred the knowledge in 2008. We have developed it, and we have systems which we can fly and move with. So it's not theoretical now. The knowledge, as a lot of people who listen to us know, it's been handed over, it's been given to the Iranian government. And they announced to have a spaceship program, and they're correct because we have a copy of the system here in Belgium.
So, I mean, I remember when this news item came out here back in March, when the Iranian agency ISNA announced this, it seemed to be kind of taken as a joke, if you will, by the mainstream papers.
There is no joke. There is no joke. I announced this, that we transferred the technology about the gravitational positioning.
Yeah.
And a space program in Alan Sterling interview in 2009, 21st of July interview. We said we transferred the knowledge, and the knowledge is there. And now the Iranians have 2.5 years to develop it further because it doesn't need that much. We did the first lift in 2008 in Tehran. I was there. The first lift was done in front of me when it happened. At 5:30 in the afternoon local time. So it's all been recorded, it's been videoed, and it's their right to announce because the finances were doing this part of the project, but it's reality, and I think very soon they will show their spaceship.
This is really interesting because from my point of view, there's almost like there's little, if you will, Mehran, little Cold War type, situation in terms of the relationship now between Iranian governments and a lot of the Western one. Unfortunately, they call this the Saturn, of course. And so have you been invited there? Have you seen this actually in process, so to speak, in reality?
I built it
in Iran.
Yes, I was in Iran for 4.5 months in 2008.
Yeah.
All the facilities was made available by the research centers, and we built the system, we fly with it. And they have a copy and I have a copy, because initially we had a vertical takeoff, but the whole process was to be able to do directional takeoff, which when I came back to Belgium in 2008, 2009, we did research and we developed it. Now we can move in any direction.
See, and what I'm wondering then, from my point of view, Mehran, because I don't speak, Arabic or what have you, I've been trying to find more information about this from some of the Western news agencies, but there's nothing. There's no videos. There's no mentioning about this Saturn anywhere.
We sent controlled video of the weight reduction of this system about 2 months ago to Will Alves, which is the program like yours. Mm. And they have seen it because we discussed it in the program afterwards. We will very shortly, next few times, very soon, we will show the full system. We have it, but we wait for the Iranians to make the first move because I've got agreement with them that way.
Okay. And so, do you have any plans of putting some of this, if you have footage, video material on this on your YouTube channel? I was looking around, interested.
Yeah, we will do very soon, but the thing you have to understand, this concept which NASA has built, and everything comes from what they call the father of the space, that the Americans don't want to speak about him anymore, and the German scientists who brought the Vandenberg to America. They made to us to think about propulsion and this rocket fuels and all that. But in a way, our systems can lift hundreds of thousands times more weight than the American system with no fuel, literally, with a few less than gram of fuel. Because we don't burn the fuel. We produce magnetic fields from the magnetic fields within the structure of the plasma. So you create a matching system as the Earth. So the Earth finds its position, or our system, which is the lighter compared to Earth, is positioned in respect to the Earth. Mm. It's the same thing as the way Earth finds its position in respect to the Sun, and the Moon does with respect to Earth. We made another moon for Earth. So we find our position, but this time we have full control where the position will be. It's the simplicity of it. Mm. We don't use heat, we don't use energy or high temperatures. Our systems are made of plastic. People who listened to me before, they know. Our systems are totally made of plastic.
Interesting, very, very interesting. So you're saying in one way that Werner von Braun, as you mentioned, in one way, he's deflected this into a whole different area.
No, that was the knowledge we had. Uh-huh. That's the knowledge we had at the time.
Yeah.
Now this is the knowledge we have now. For our forefathers used donkey because they didn't know about the wheel. Yeah? And then they made a cart wheel. There was nothing wrong with the donkey, huh?
That's right.
And now we come to the cars. Now is the man progress in knowledge and intelligence. Now we started with atom in mid-late 40s. We came to nuclear, and then we came to plasma. And now we have opened the plasma. So when we use the structure of the plasma, the magnetic fields which are hidden within the inner sanctum of the plasma, the game has changed. So it's the same process. You can't say what the Americans done is wrong. You can't say what the Russians done is wrong. A lot of knowledge gathered by them is the foundation of what we're going to use in the future in the space. But this is the addition which changes it. Americans are not wrong, the Iranians are not wrong, the Russians are not wrong. But now everybody has put a chip on the table, and now we can make a full system. But we don't need propulsion. Propulsion is finished.
That's right. I mean, I believe that have been the case for quite some time, but obviously there will be some resistance to this kind of work for various monetary and political reasons. But what are some of the...
I tell you something sorry to jump in.
Okay, go ahead.
I tell you something very simple. Years ago, I spoke with the top guys in NASA. They said to me, and I even tell you exactly where I was when I received the call. I was opposite the central station in Antwerp. I received a call from NASA guys on the top. They said, what are we going to do with 8,000 boys in a propulsion lab? Where are we going to find jobs for them? That's their concern, not in development of the science.
But that's not logical at all, Mehran. I mean, if this is about a whole new, way of producing rockets, that would create more jobs than the 7,000 that they currently have, right?
Yeah, but that is the way the mentality goes in NASA. Because we spoke, I explained, they have a mentality within NASA, protect what it is to protect our job because we don't want to learn new, even though are at the edge of the science in so many ways. When we told them, they said, have you heard of the movie called Back to the Center of the Earth or something? They said, you are dreaming about these things. I said, okay, you dream your way, we work our way. There is no problem. But now, the rumor is that it's not somebody said that they are that. The Iranian government, the officials from the government, they said they have a spaceship program.
Yeah.
And they never spoke about such a thing even 2 years ago, because we were originally supposed to show the spaceship on the name of the bright light in the sky last March. We were blocked.
Mm-hmm.
So now the Iranian done exactly a year later. They have the facility, they have the system, and they have the machinery to do it.
Who were they blocked by, and how, Mehran?
We were blocked. Keshe Foundation was blocked by the Americans and the Belgian government.
And do you know why?
What do you think?
Well, again, exactly. That's what that's what I'm bringing this up, because I don't think that the reasons.
I'll tell you something. We have this afternoon. I was in a meeting with some journalists because they wanted to see documents that our technology is correct. That's what the Iranians claim.
Yeah.
So I put a contact in front of that, issued by a Belgium leading space company, saying that they're ready to produce the first gravitational energy system in the world, dated 2006.
Excellent. And what was the response from the journalists? Are they going to run with this? And
you will see, yes.
Okay.
There will be a 4-page journal, 4-page article will come out in June.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not the first time. He said that a lot of people around us know what we do. A lot of people within the Belgian government know what we want to do. But that is their problem. But that's something I keep away from, because we are more and more concentrating on our present online to come, the International Space Institute that we have promised to open in April of 2012. So every effort is going into that, to open this institute, to start teaching the first 100 scientists that we keep to our 2015, 2016 travel to the moon, 24 hours return back to Earth. So we are on target.
So that's truly an amazing claim. And is this information now then, though, Mehran, that you're working with so-called open source, if you will? Is this about spreading the information to all of humanity, or how is your outlook on this currently, Mehran? What is your goal with the dissemination of the information?
Our goal is very simple. All our target is the space technology. That is our main target.
Yeah.
But what we've done, we bring our knowledge across different fields. We bring the knowledge of space to nanotechnology. We see we can produce amazing materials. We bring our knowledge from the nanospace technology into medicine. We will see amazing things is getting achieved and done. We learn what we learn from medicine. We take it back to the space. We see, wow, we did something slightly different, but we achieved much better results. So one is feeding the other. At the same time, when I started the whole program of this space technology 30 years ago, they told me you're crazy. But with keeping my foundation and keeping our system independent from any government, we don't get touched. We cannot be touched, or they don't touch us because we don't need them.
Mm.
And now we see the difference. We see a lot of officials who are accepting, because since the Iranian announcements, that we're not talking rubbish, we're not there. Because it's not a claim by some Mickey Mouse office to say we have a spaceship program. It's a government official who has seen the system. In Iran, there is a mindset that there is a problem, that they will sort this problem. They have to sort this problem very soon for themselves internally. and I've written this on one of my forum links, that Iran will go to space but will never land on the moon.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
And it's of Iranian Islamic culture. Moon is holy.
That's right.
So they will never land on the moon. So Iran will go to Mars before the Americans do, before 2020. But with a program that they don't need to be on the way for 22 months. They go with a program that they don't need to carry any boxes to live in, because with our technology, it was tested, 100% is correct, that we can land on the moon and create an environment around our own system which lands. So we have 1G immediately within 10 meters, 20 meters, 100 meters from the craft.
Very, very interesting. We need to talk about this and break this down, obviously, how this works and so forth as well. But I guess what I want to return to just a little bit is the relationship, if you will, Mehran, between Iran and some of the Western governments. Again, I don't mean that I personally take this view, but what I get when I read some of the reports about the ISNA, when they announced Saturn, this flying saucer, if you will, or UFO, it was like it was a joke. It's like, oh, they're crazy. They just make this up kind of thing. There's a disconnection there. See what I mean?
No, yeah. We submitted the plan of the structure of the spaceship as a patent.
Yeah.
5 years ago. There's nothing wrong with it. It's 100% correct.
So why the silence again? We're back to that idea then. That
we don't know. Put it this way. Even me, who's the inventor, had to keep silence till the Iranians announce it.
Okay, I see.
You understand? There's a lot of loss by the West if Iran launches such a thing.
Of course.
First loss is a total loss of all the military know-how of the West. And they will protect it. I gave a lecture a few days ago, and somebody asked me the question, and I answered it in a very simple way. Present missiles, present F-16, F-18s, whatever, the speed, 1 Mach, 2 Mach, Mach 2, Mach 3, yeah?
Right.
Iranian space technology, you're talking minimum Mach 35, Mach 40. Ball game has changed. Who's going to buy an aircraft which is out of date?
So what you're saying, Mehran, is that you've openly offered, I guess, this to many different governments, correct? But the Iranians were the only ones who picked it up.
Everybody knows. You don't need the governments. You know, I was kidnapped by the Canadians. They stole all of my files, but they don't understand it because it's all written in a language these people don't understand.
Okay.
They kidnapped me off the plane for 11 days.
When was this? When was this?
Coming this June of 8th of June 2010. This anniversary is coming up next week.
And what did they try to get out of you then? The information on how to utilize this
technology? Well,
technology?
they knew what they're after. We had a site, everybody knows. We put it on our site. They left all the documents in my bags and everything behind. They thought I'm a stupid guy, huh? So we put it on a note on our forum, all the bags pictured, photographed with the Canadian immigration and the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to know how. They knew Iran is developing this and other technologies. They wanted to know how because I'm the founder, I'm the developer.
Right. See, I didn't know that. I was trying to find more information about this Iranian, and that they announced this UFO a while back, and I tried to see if there was a connection to you, but I couldn't find it. See online, so I didn't actually know this. Interesting.
If you go on www.keshe.foundation/special, you will see, we took it off a few months ago because we got fed up. The Americans and the Canadians, they all got tired, and everybody else got the message. The Canadians tried to steal with the Americans the know-how. But the know-how has been on the table with NASA for years.
Mm-hmm.
The know-how has been with the European Space Agency for years. They decided, for political reason, to ignore it. And other people who didn't know it, they built it and it works.
See, I think that, I think that there's another explanation for this. I think that they actually have utilized the technology and actually built things like this already. This is what we call the black budget, you know?
I don't believe so, because what happened was this is a tactical move by the Iranian government.
Okay.
The announcement of the spaceship program so rapidly out of the blue was and is because I was in Tehran in January of this year. Everybody got to know what has been taken out of me, and the Americans are going to start working on it to do what we call reverse technology development, but where the Iranians have been working on it for 3 years. So they announced it to cover the technology we already have in our hand.
Very, very interesting. Do you think that this might be seen as some kind of threat by the West if this is
There is no threat. There is no threat.
Sure. No, I'm not saying that there is. I'm just, do you think that they will perceive it this way?
You can change the story they like, but one of the most beautiful moves which was made by the Iranians was they offered the technology undercover to the Japanese for the present situation in Japanese nuclear reactors.
Yeah.
So, because I explained this to my interview with Kim, that they have the technology as we have. Second day after the disaster, the first to blow up in Japan, I offered the technology to the Japanese government direct. They said they can't do it because they called me back, long conversation with the officials from the embassy, that because you are based in Belgium, we have to ask through the Belgian governments or European governments to let us to speak to you. Where a few days later, a couple of weeks later, the Iranian government said we are prepared to help the Japanese with their problem.
Yeah.
And that technology comes from Keshe Foundation. We know how to confine and we know how to restrict the radiation leak using our technology, space technology.
So, are they going to go ahead with this now? Have you heard anything?
I don't know. I'm not, I'm not the spokesman for the Iranians.
Sure.
We are an independent organization. We research. And with Iran, we had a good relationship in building the first, magnetic gravitational systems 3 years ago. They are following their way. We follow our way. I have all respect for them, and same as I try to do the same thing with the Americans, with the British government and the Belgian government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we've been very open. Everybody knows what we are doing.
Excellent. That's a great idea. So it is in a way then, if you will, so-called open source. And does that mean that you also in your work, Mehran, explain how to do this yourself, kind of thing, the components you need to use, or how
At the moment we can't do.
Yeah.
There are a lot of security apparatus around this technology. We are aware of it and we keep to it. We don't need governments to tell us.
Right.
And I think this is what has kept us from a lot of problem, as any other institute organization like us by now would have been having a lot of problem. We are aware of our responsibilities and we know what idiots can do if we teach it openly.
Right, exactly.
You
that was my, yes.
You got these crazy organizations and crazy people who even we get the emails from them, huh?
Yeah.
They want the space technology today to destroy this country and that country. Who idiots are you to do it? Believe
Right.
me, the emails we get is beyond belief.
Yeah.
Huh?
See,
the emails,
that seems to be. So, sorry to cut you off there, but see that this seems to be the major problem about this, because we've heard from a lot of different people around the world that is claiming certain things in terms of their work, right? What they can do, what they have in possession, how this will work, how they can utilize this, same as you, right? But the problem and the disconnection here seems to be on this point here as well, because with this technology also comes a great responsibility and a great threat, because it can actually be, in one sense, weaponized, if you will, right?
It is weaponized. Believe you me, it's weaponized to its maximum. We developed, Keshe Foundation, me personally, have developed a full knowledge about the weapon technology with the system, but not for military, for space. My responsibility as somebody who invents such a thing and discovers such a thing is to the people who are allowed to test it. And when I'm responsible for their lives, I have to make sure they are protected in every way in a space. Mm-hmm. It's like when you have a child, when you bring a baby home, you're responsible for everything of it. His future education to feeding him today. So I always accepted the responsibility. I have to protect my people. You see what happened with NASA in Colombia?
Yeah.
We sent it twice. Doesn't matter they are English, they're American, they're Chinese, they're Jews, they're Muslim, they're Christians. It doesn't make any difference. We're all human. We cannot lose none of us.
That's
Especially out of mishaps and miscalculations or the shortcuts. So when the Iranian government or Keshe Foundation announces that by 2020 we will colonize Mars with no problem because we know we can, we have the knowledge to do it. We need a lot of refining of the tuning. Getting these people from here to Mars is my responsibility, not just putting them on it. What is the responsibility in space? Meteorites, cosmic dust, massive radiation zones, gravitational that it has to be at 1G. You cannot send somebody to a space and say, okay, that's it, I managed to get somebody in the air. You have a cosmic dust, you should be able to protect your system from it, that they don't get destroyed at high speeds. So how do you protect it? You make a defense technology, a shielding for it. So we had to develop it. Now you convert that shielding to protect your craft, exactly what the Americans do with the heat sheet tiles. They come up with what I call popcorn under the flights, and they say this is a heat shield tile that we can come and go. We go one step further. We open a magnetic shielding, which means we can expand it 10 meters away from our craft, which means there is no heat transfer. If there is a dust or whatever, it gets burnt out before it's exactly what the atmosphere of the Earth does. So we brought our knowledge to protect our people. If you want to call it weapon technology, yes, we are in weapon technology, but for a space to protect our people, and it's not weapon, it's shielding.
So to make a pop cultural reference for people to understand what you're talking about a force field a la Star Trek.
A dynamic magnetic shielding.
Right.
Yes, it happens. We have it with Earth. This is one of the characteristics of the systems which produce magnetic and gravitational fields at the same time through the same material. We cannot all run away from it, but because we have the knowledge, we can control its depth, we can control its strength, we can control how far away from our craft goes. So, in a way, look at the Earth. We have gravity because it's 1G, we are stuck to it, otherwise we'll be floating. We have a magnetic field which gives us the shielding from the cosmic dust and the sun rays and the rest of it. When you look inside the core of the Earth, there are not two separate systems building one magnetic field and one gravitational. It's the same material. The interaction of the positive field, what's called north fields, for example, they'll give you the magnetic field. Interaction between north and south gives you the gravitational field. So, when you create such a system, the outcome is a magnetic shielding, but when the Earth was created, the material inside cannot be changed, so its magnetic field stays constant, and its gravitational field stays constant. But with our technology, we have the capability to change it. So we can increase it 20, 30 meters away to give it a shielding. In a way, we increase our magnetosphere beyond the boundary of our system, so we protect ourselves. But as these fields are dynamic, they rotate, everything comes into it the way we see meteorites, they come in and they get burned out. So that all happens. Now change the meteorite to radar frequency. It comes in, it gets chunked up because it goes into dynamic magnetic fields and then it goes back. We are undetectable with the radar. So what do you call it? Defense technology or as a part of a technology which creates magnetic field and gravitational field?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, a fork can be used to feed somebody or stab somebody in the eye with it.
That cuts both ways. Huh?
That's right. So you're saying, now then, just to clarify that this is already developed and currently in possession of the Iranian Space Agency, correct?
Iranian government's officials have the technology.
Excellent. And
I
so
have the technology. When I left Tehran, thanks to the Office of the President's Research Center, they gave me a copy of the same system. So I have a copy.
Excellent. And so
I am producing, I am developing the same kind of technology because once you know the system works, we have about 7, 8 different systems of it. I test different things on it. So we have the same.
What have you left to do? Is there other applications and things that you're discovering as you go along, or do you have
every day?
Right.
Every day. We have For the first time in past few days, we have developed a neutral gravitational fields. Neutral gravitational fields are amazing technology. I've been searching for this over 30 years. And in past week, 2 weeks, we have developed it. It takes a lot of knowledge to develop a fully dynamic system which has both gravity and magnetic field, but is neutral to its environment. Which means you can put anything around it, it doesn't get attracted to or it doesn't get rejected, but it keeps its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken a lot of research. This has huge applications in the space where you can move to a certain position and choose to stay. It's very much like the helicopter business. You know, when you can hover and keep your position steady, we have the knowledge to do that with a neutral magnetic field. This is good for when you take the information back into, for example, cancer cells within the body. If you make a minute miniature, what they call nano cells, and you can let them float. When they come to a frequency which is, or magnetic field, the strength of, let's say, a cancer cell, you can activate them and they just absorb the magnetic field or the gravitational field of the cell of the cancer, and you can remove it. You can remove cancer cells. You can use this in the space and do different things with it.
So are you at all, in one sense, I mean, you mentioned already that you've been talking with papers, you anticipate soon, this to be detailed in one level or another, but are you eager to announce this in another way? I guess what I'm asking is, will we see an official demonstration soon of this technology, Mehran?
Official presentation, we went to open a factory to build these things. We were not allowed to do it.
By who?
By the Belgian and American government.
So why not set up and build this in Iran then, if they are open?
I am married and I live in Belgium with a Belgian, and home I have children in universities and everything in Europe. I've lived here for 35 years. I go to Iran when it's need be for development, and I stay here and carry on. We came across with Iran due to pressures from the West. They wanted certain things, and I got invited, and they developed it, and I'm back. The same I did with China. I'm here in Belgium for 5 years. I lived in England for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's just, especially now, it's just the geography of wherever you develop it.
I see. But this is not a matter of you just starting up a company in Belgium. You have to have, because of what it entails, they have to approve it, I guess, then. Is that correct?
They know what is sitting. The full government and the Flemish government knows about us. We have a lot of things. They asked us through Price Waterhouse to submit programs of development for Keshe Foundation, Keshe Technologies for the General Motor plant in Antwerp.
Mm-hmm.
We submitted it to them, so we didn't go to them. They asked Price Waterhouse, which is a well-known company, to ask Keshe Foundation to submit their programs for the plant.
And
so they know. Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Blocked by the Americans. General Motor owns the property, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, again, we're back to the situation that we have people here who do not want to have this technology out there because, as I suspect, in one form or another, and I'm saying that they have your work specifically, but a version of this or a similar understanding perhaps of this in another way, and they've applied it to their own, if you will, secret Black Ops space program. But that's just a theory. What do you make of that, Mehran?
I hope they do. If they know they can do, I hope they do. And come to us, we know more. We can teach you a lot.
Yeah.
I have 30 years research, 30 years of developing it. And even what we have in arsenal of knowledge with us, I think it'll take the scientific world under 30, 40 years, if that, to get to it. Because there's one thing which is very crucial, and that's a main important thing with us, is that we have never been in the hand of governments for financing. So we finance where we think, we research where we think, and we do what we think. And we have people who supported us to be in this position. So there is not a matter of how we do it, if the governments will allow us to do it. As I said very recently, these people at any rank, being Prime Minister, being the doorman at the office of the Prime Minister, being a professor in university, we are human. They're going to get sick. And at the moment, the knowledge carried within the Keshe Foundation medical application, nobody holds. We have started in past 6 days, 5 days, the process of returning sight to a girl who was born blind. She's 13 years old now. They blocked us. They even blocked our visa to move, to help the girl. That's how cruel these governments are. We found a way. We delivered the system. The treatment started in past 4 days.
Now, do you believe that that is because they don't understand it and they think that this might harm people and therefore block you, or are they in full understanding of what it entails and therefore blocking you? What do you think?
The second one.
Yeah.
They fully understand. They
Yeah.
fully understand because we've been teaching in the West for past 10 years. I have met with more scientists, with more doctors, with more scientific people explaining the technology than anybody else. I went to Leuven University. Leuven University is one of the leading universities like Cambridge. It's like MIT in Belgium. The head of nuclear, Professor whatever his name is, spent an hour and a half examining me or questioning me in front of 3 other people. 2 people from IMEC, which is a nanotechnology institute in Belgium, and 1 from the Keshe Foundation. So we have 5 people in the room. I can give their names. Anybody can talk to them. The professor says to me, I accept 95% of what you said you've done in discovery is correct, but I have to reject it for 5%. And I said, what? Any law says even 75, 80% accepted, you follow. How come 95% you accept, 5% you don't accept? Then we found out he was bribed to refuse the technology because of the bribery within the structure of the situation here.
So this is bribed by Belgian government? Is
Yes, by within the internal system within the Belgium and energy producing companies who supplied this guy with his money for his research. And then a few months later, the same professor says on a report to the government, give your nuclear reactors free to the French. They said, what? And then they said, yeah, of course, he gets paid by the French, he's giving it to them. And they blocked it. Now they have to pay 500 million. It's in the news. You don't need to hear from us. So the corruption sits within the structure. They all know what we do. If a professor at that level, at the highest university in the country, says he accepts 95% of the discovery, and he rejects it for 5%, I think a fool knows who's the fool.
That's very, very interesting. It's like in a very, very stubborn, obviously an unwillingness to go forward with this, and as we explained,
no, it's not unwillingness. It's a lot of bribery. In Belgium, we cannot report anything. Nobody in Belgium can report anything about Keshe Foundation.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that it's an unwillingness on the part of him. If he understands it, he's willing to take the bribe, as opposed to actually accepting the technology and making sure that it goes ahead, because what it entails, again, that there's a lot of applications that would be beneficial to all of humanity here, correct?
Yeah, but at the same time, the same thing very recently has happened in England. The same thing has happened in the United States. In England, regarding the guy, the professor was supposed to give a report about the immunization system or injections for children. He blocked everything for years, and then they found out he was getting paid by the pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
And the same thing very recently, in early March, a guy who was claiming he went paralyzed because of certain material in the everyday use material in the community, he was becoming paralyzed. And the professor who was supposed to do the peer review and independent report, they found out he's getting paid by the pharmaceutical. And he was holding the report back for 10 years till the judge opened it. So it happens everywhere.
Do you know specifically what pharmaceutical companies were behind this?
Don't ask me. Go in the newspaper. You read it.
Okay. Got it. So
I don't
what is the solution here, do you think, Mehran, then? Because obviously if you're continuously being blocked by governments, by bribery through different corporations,
yes,
etc.
what happened? Yes, the solution is there is no solution. What happened? Belgium, for the past 4 years, 5 years, even blocked our press interviews. We set a press conference in Park Hotel in city of Kortrijk 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And a member of press was supposed to come. And when they came, the manager stood at the front door and said, the only way a press conference about creation of gravity goes on unless we receive a call from the cabinet of the government. We thought, what a press conference to do, scientific to do with the cabinet? Huh? So my neighbor is 3 doors away. He's a reporter, one of the well-known newspapers in Belgium. They came, they looked at it, and the editor, she says to me, we cannot publish anything about Keshe technology, it's blocked. So it was like this till recently, till the Iranian government announced the spaceship program, and other agencies and internet radio programs like you picked on it. Right. So now everybody knows.
Which is excellent.
They've given enough interviews, So the blockage is a waste of time, so they have to look at it a different way.
Right. Is there a strategy here which could imply just doing it and ignoring the fact that they're trying to prevent you from doing it? Meaning that if you actually have demonstrations occurring, let's say in front of cameras of individuals who have their own, as you said, websites, whatnot, YouTube, get it out there, right?
Yeah. We see everybody wants to see. We have no problem. Yeah. We can show what we have, huh? Yeah. We managed to wake a girl who was dying with a coma, the total dead. They were going to switch the machine off to a life ward. We put it on our forum. We put it on our site, in the coma section, on the health section. Who objected to removing the video? The mother of the girl. She was pressurized most probably by the government officials. Don't let people see such a thing, that they believe him.
Okay.
Yeah? We put a video of a girl who was MS in a wheelchair on the internet. We put a video from other patients with a medical. They said everything was to be removed, or they block it, because this shows the correctness of the technology. So we don't have a problem. I don't have a problem, because I know this technology will be implemented long after I'm gone.
Right.
To understand the full technology, it'll take another 200, 300, 400 years. So there's no hurry for me.
I see. And do you think that there could be a solution in maybe having people who are, enthusiastic about your work, let's say, and they can follow actually you with cameras, and that can go up on both YouTube channels, but then also on independent websites that can carry the video?
What would this serve?
To get it out.
A lot of people, it's got out. The cat is out of the bag. It's totally out. But what would it serve to put cameras showing them who is going to be interested in this in the long term? It'll be a news flash for a few seconds. The reality is to set up the institute the way we are doing, to change the whole program of the space, the food, the energy, the medical aspects all together. Mm-hmm. And in a way, thanks to them in restricting to us, it's allowed us to develop and become very solid.
Okay,
I thank the Belgians for the blockage, because he allowed us to become more independent. I thank the Americans for kidnapping me and organizing it, or the Canadians to do the job for them, because he allowed me, when I came back, I wrote the most beautiful book called The Structure of the Light, which has been released, which totally wipes out what Einstein said, because Einstein is wrong in saying that the light is an energy. No, light is a structure. In the book I explain it, and I use it in my system. And that's how we can go from Earth to Mars in 2 to 3 hours in a very near future, with a full magnetic field protection, without even burning a single gram of fuel. Because Einstein's correctness that says light is energy and has a maximum speed, yes, it has a maximum speed. But where? In the matter environment. Now, with opening the plasma, we've gone to the principal matter, what you call antimatter. When you use the principal matter as an energy source and a magnetic field source, the light sits somewhere at the bottom of the scale, we can in space very soon, next 100 years, travel thousands of times faster than the speed of light, because speed of light has a magnetic field speed, which is at the bottom. So when you can go 100,000 times faster, speed of light is irrelevant. To me, I was giving a lecture very recently. Speed of light, the way Einstein has defined it, and it says the maximum speed, goes back to 1840s. When the cars came out, they said if you go more than fast than 25 kilometers, you die, your eyes bulge out. It's the same concept.
Mm-hmm.
It's not this, such a thing doesn't stand, it's not correct. So, E equal mc square, yes, in a matter environment. Now that we have opened the plasma, and we see the antimatter and the principal matter, we call it principal matter, the ball game is finished. Einstein is correct up to that point. That was his understanding. We cannot stop.
So what you're dealing with is a different environment, basically, here of matter. The structure.
No, we're dealing with the higher energy levels. We are dealing with higher stronger magnetic fields. And we are not out of line. The Fermilab says they have separated anti-gravity, antimatter. European nuclear centers in past few months, they announced the first time they managed to separate antimatter from the plasma.
Mm-hmm.
We separate antimatter in a very easy way, and we can do kilos of it. And we have so what we've done, we go to the source, we go to the center of it, we take the antimatter, what you call principal matter, and we use this magnetic field, which is by the order of magnitude, thousands of times faster, stronger than the light. So the speed of light, yes, Einstein is correct. In a matter environment is correct, but it doesn't apply because now you go magnetic fields much far further stronger than that.
These are the things, and among others, that I would like to continue to talk more with you about. Why don't we begin here to wrap things up here for the first hour, Mehran? I want to mention your website, and obviously, again, you've mentioned, I think, 2 books here so far, The Universal Order of Creation of Matters, and also The Structure of Light. It is available currently on your website.
Yeah, KeshFoundation.com is where you can buy both books.
Absolutely. Let me just spell that for our listeners here as well. Keshe, Kesh, and then foundation.com. That's the website for this. We will definitely link this up, obviously. But we have much more to talk about, Mehran, so stay with us as we proceed here in a little bit with the next hour. We have much more to discuss with Mehran Keshe, and we will do so in the second hour, now available in our members area at redicecreations.com. Stay with us for much more of this interesting program, some extraordinary claims by Mehran, but if true, this would have a massive impact on travel, space exploration, the energy question, of course, and we haven't even talked that much about the medical applications yet either. We'll proceed to discuss the technology, the energy generating device, plasma magnetic fields, nanotechnology, the International Space Foundation, and more. Log in or click subscribe to download or stream this next hour or any of our previous programs. Next up on Red Ice Radio, we have Christopher Dunn, Scott Omstott, Max Egan, Adrian Selbucci, Henry Macau, Gilad Atzmon, Israel Shamir, and Ian Crane, among others. We'll proceed now with Mehran Keshe. Thank you for staying with us.